Disclaimer: the following audio was recorded before Broly was revealed as the main villain in the upcoming 2018 Dragon Ball Super movie. Please enjoy the following audio content. Hey everybody, SONGOSHUAKU'S here! And finally, welcome to this review for Dragon Ball Super Episode 131, The Miraculous Conclusion. Farewell until we meet again, Goku! And before we get started, make sure to hit the subscribe button as followed by hitting the notification bell so you are notified right away when all my content is released. That being said, guys, I apologize for the long wait between the huge, humongous amount of time it takes to go ahead and write down all these recaps and notes, the editing, and the amount of time of us basically trying to work with our schedules and certain someone not going ahead and getting back to my messages. We'll talk more about that later. But yeah, we are here and we have joining us TheLinuxVirus.
What's going on, guys?
Yay, thank you for
this
finally,
was a process.
Yes, thank you for finally replying back to my text. People kept asking me over and over, where's the review? I'm like, I'm waiting for him to respond.
Oh no, you're not gonna put this all on me. You are not gonna put this all on
He's right, it's true. While there were times he did not respond to my text, there were times that Linux was indeed ready, and then my job would ask, hey, could you stay back and do us a favor because somebody called off, and I'd be like, hey, Linux, let's try and do this the next week and everything, and it just kept going back and forth between those two things, and everything like that. But so yeah, it was indeed a joint effort sometimes in trying to get this review finally together. But the main thing is we are finally here, guys, and don't take this too serious. Me and Linux always kid around like this and everything like that. But let's not waste any more time, guys. Let's get into the final episode for now of Dragon Ball Super. So let me also go ahead and show some love here to the animators. If you guys haven't, check out Anime AJ. Very excellent when it comes to breaking down the animation. So I found out most of the animators' names from here. I'm not going to be able to name drop all of them, but definitely check out his channel. So the animation supervisor for this episode was Tadayoshi Yamuro. So basically, yeah, he did all the supervising and cleanups and stuff for the anime, from my understanding. And this was actually directed by Megumi Ishitani. And very fascinating, this young lady right here basically went from college right to doing high-level anime, and she got to direct the finale of Dragon Ball Super. So that is very impressive, definitely. So yeah, shout out to all the hard-working animators who, especially at short notice, had to put all this together. So the episode, guys, we're gonna go through here, starts off not giving us the intro of Limit Breaker X Survivor by Kiyoshi Hikawa, which honestly has, I don't know about you, Lynx, because we haven't had the chance to talk about this. This has arguably become possibly my favorite intro theme in the entire Dragon Ball franchise, and I am a huge fan of Dragon Ball GT's opening theme, Dan Dan Kokoro Haikare Teku. I probably mispronounced that in Bashin, but it was my Field of View. That was like that's my all-time favorite Dragon Ball song, but this one's giving it huge competition. Before we get into the episode, how have you enjoyed the theme and the intro?
I love this intro. Not gonna lie, I love this intro. Like, it gets you hype.
Exactly.
It gets you ready for the episode. That's the best way to describe it. Like, the intro is amazing.
Yeah, it is really, and I think they've done a really good job. I do miss Kageyama, who did the vocals for the classic Chala Head Chala, We Got Power, and just so many awesome epic songs in the Dragon Ball video game portion of the franchise. But yeah, this definitely captures the feeling that we've gotten through those songs. So with that said in mind, the first part of the animation, I believe, kicks off with Masahiro Shimanuki, who basically did most of the animation there, and of course Shamaru comes in for corrections. So the way this starts off is pretty good, because the animation was top notch. They brought in all the top animators for this. So things kicks off, like I said, they don't show the intro, they get right into it, and you have Jiren basically going like, "How futile is dragging one who can no longer fight back to the stage, this trust thing that you're going on about." And then you have Frieza coming in, "Trust? What's your point?" And Jiren then goes like, "Don't make me have to repeat myself." And Frieza goes like, "He is just insurance. I'll be winning the Super Dragon Balls, so there's no need for you to worry about repeating anything. I don't sense that absolute strength you exhibit earlier anymore." And then this gets Jiren annoyed, and from there, Frieza starts to go ahead, and he points towards Jiren and says, "You shall experience the taste of defeat once more by my hand." And he does that cool, classic Frieza bow, and from this is where Jiren powers up, and he's basically has, with very little ki left, or what he has left, he explodes the rocks, and he teleports in front of 17, and he blocks it, but then he gets smacked away nearby rubble as Golden Frieza goes ahead and dodges out the way of getting hit by 17, and Jiren and Frieza, they block each other's punches back to back, and then they're exchanging blows at a fast speed. Jiren's next punch then collapses the rubble. I don't know how many times they've collapsed rubble. I mean, it is nothing but just floating rubble at this point. Yeah, the rubble that they were standing on. So Frieza and Jiren continue to do battle while falling, actually, as this basically is where 17 is jumping from different parts of the floating rubble, and an exhausted Frieza and Jiren continue to do battle while falling down, and they drop down nearby. Frieza goes into his typical trash talking mode, where he mentions basically it's a really big burden. I'm definitely gonna get your opinion on this, Linux. So he basically goes in and says, "Oh, what happened to your usual poker face?" And Jiren goes like, "Silence!" And then he says, "One shattered strength is so fragile. I can almost hear your heart shrinking, afraid to become the weakling you once were." Wow. I was like, eesh, oh my. Because Frieza could talk this trash now that Jiren is so weakened. What was your thoughts on that burn and just the way this episode basically kicks off?
I'm not gonna lie, this also makes Frieza look like the biggest bitch in this episode.
Oh. But this has been established, dude. Look how he took out Goku in Resurrection F. When things get going tough, Frieza will definitely resort to cowardly tactics.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it just makes him look like the biggest bitch in this episode. Primarily because he's seen what Jiren was capable of and stated on several different occasions he did not want to fight him. Only for now, when Jiren is getting close to depleting all of his strength, to be like, all right, now I'm going to talk trash to this man. Now I'm going to get inside of his head. Which, one, it confirms something I've thought Frieza finally adapted, which it seems like he is able to now sense power levels. He is able to now gauge an opponent's strength.
Yeah, I noticed
but
that.
That's beside the point.
Yeah, I did notice
that's
that.
That's beside the point. He attacks Jiren in a way that I don't think anybody ever has. He attacks Jiren with the one thing he just got done ranting about, and that's becoming the weakling. Jiren is, I mean, we've heard everybody talk about this, from the Kais to his own god of destruction to Jiren himself, about this absolute power, him wanting to be the strongest, him having to be the strongest. It's almost a necessity for Jiren to not lose in his head. Like, anything below a win is disgraceful, it's shameful, it shouldn't exist, it shouldn't be a thing. You know, he cannot lose. And so for Frieza to tell him, you're scared to become the weakling that you despise, is the equivalent to spitting in Jiren's face directly. Because he's basically saying, you had this one. And I don't know if you've noticed, you're having a hard time dealing with me. So much to the point where, Jiren, if I beat you, which is looking like a possibility, what excuse will you have?
Very true, very true.
So yeah, it's a very cerebral tactic. It's a very, like I said, it's a low tactic, and it makes sense. But I'm mad that it was done in that context because of how cowardly Frieza's acted in front of Jiren. You know, he said on several different occasions he had not wanted to fight him. He's told Goku to his face, "I'm gonna leave him to you. I'm not dealing with him. I need you to deal with him."
Yeah, that's why I was so surprised to see Frieza fighting Jiren in these later episodes.
Well, he's an opportunist.
But he lost it though, so.
Yeah, you know, he's an opportunist, and Frieza saw, like, this is my chance to take him out.
Yeah, but I think I called this, I thought it's like he's gonna pick up where after Goku's done finishing off Jiren, he's gonna pick up the bones pretty much, yeah. But definitely let's move on here. So basically from there, Jiren basically gets angry and he says, "You said my strength is shattered. Why don't you see for yourself if it really has been?" And from there, Jiren basically goes ahead and he does what I always call those flaming fists attack, but Frieza blocks it using telekinesis from a nearby rock. Once again, another callback to Dragon Ball Z. After that, 17, he comes out of nowhere and he spears Jiren, comes in just like Edge. Spear! For those of you wrestling fans out there, he starts forming a blue ki blast and tells Jiren that this time it's going to hurt. I really actually love this part too. Jiren stops 17 from pushing him back further, raises his elbow, yells that it won't work twice, but 17 traps both of them in a barrier and says same here, and does another self-destruction explosion, this time inside the barrier. 17 is pushed back after the barrier explodes from his inner explosion as he survives once again, and here we end up seeing basically a bunch of steam from his clothes, and this leaves Jiren coughing up a massive amount of spit because, these Dragon Ball characters nowadays, they just can't draw any blood, it's just a lot of spit. You think they would draw blood, now they're on universal destroying levels, but we already know.
Pretty sure that was blood,
changes
but
at it.
We'll leave it at spit for the kids.
It was presented as blood. I'm pretty sure in the manga it will be blood. So yeah, he's coughing up a massive amount of spit, and it's burning. It just instantly burns when it hits the ground, but not his hand. Okay, however that works. But yeah, this leaves Jiren falling down to his knees, and he's on one hand. Just before we get into where this goes from here, Mr. MVP himself, I love this tactic. I don't think we've ever seen anything in Dragon Ball like that. I was like, that was so cool. Just trapping him and doing an explosion inside the barrier, like to make sure they won't get away. I thought that was epic. What did you think about when 17 pulled that one out?
You already know I'm a 17 fan. This man can do no wrong in my eyes. He could have got wrung out right there, and I would still find a way to justify why that would have been the right decision. 17 has, throughout this entire tournament, come up with the most creative and most effective ways of dealing with the diverse enemies that have been in this tournament. This guy is always thinking. He's always thinking. There's never a battle that he can't win. I'm very curious to know how strong he is in comparison to, like, Goku,
Frieza?
Vegeta, Jiren, and Frieza. Yeah, I really want to know how much stronger he is than Frieza.
I was about to ask you the same thing. I think he's clearly not as strong as Goku or Vegeta, but in comparison to Frieza, every interaction he's had, especially as we get further here into the episode, every interaction he's had with Jiren, he's found a way to evade most of his attacks, and I certainly say this, he looked like he got the better end of the stick, basically, or the straws or whatever, when up against Jiren, because Frieza just completely gets pummeled every time he goes up against Jiren. 17, he actually at least manages to escape, and he actually landed a good shot on, he's the first one to land a good shot on Jiren. So I kind of, based on their interactions with Jiren, I almost figure, like, I think 17 might be stronger than Frieza, just going based on what they've shown us.
Yeah, like, even thinking about it as a whole, I think even before Jiren was weakened, when it was just Goku, Vegeta, and 17, 17 was the first one to actually hurt him.
Yep.
Like, he was the one to hurt him. He did not, like, it's weird. Like, it wasn't like there was a power-up or Jiren had a weakness at that point. Jiren literally just got hit in the back and was like, hey, that kind of stung. You know,
actually, I think that may have been when he had his supposed power up. Actually, supposed full power.
Yeah, this is when he was unleashing more of his energy, and 17 was able to hurt him to the point that Jiren was on guard the rest of that fight. So, I'm curious, how strong is 17? In comparison, like, obviously he's not stronger than Goku. Obviously he's not stronger than Vegeta. But in comparison to them, I would really like to know what the power gap is.
He's definitely got to be up in the top 4.
Can fight. Yeah, like, especially considering he can fight with Goku in Super Saiyan God mode. I'm very curious as to where 17's power stacks up. And if so, can he get stronger?
Among mortals in Universe 7, I think he's top 4.
Oh, yeah. Easy.
It's got to be a toss-up between him and Frieza 3 and 4, but just based on what I'm seeing, I'm personally going with 17's probably... Goku and Vegeta can be...
probably around the level of Gohan, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. And they're very interesting characters, too, because they have the ability to train under normal circumstances and leapfrog 15 years or so plus whatever 15 years or whatever work that it took Goku and Vegeta to reach these god levels.
Yeah. See, that's the thing with 17. Like, he's able to train, and I think Goku says this when he fights him, because he didn't think 17 could get stronger. He thought the androids had a cap, and when 17 tells Goku he's not the only one who's been training, that's what gets Goku excited. To the point where during that fight, Goku even goes back and says, to be honest, I hadn't planned on using it when he goes Super Saiyan God. And 17 was like, oh, so he was like, I'm not the only one holding back.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He's a human being.
That's what I'm saying. I think we forgot. 17 tells Goku once he goes Super Saiyan Blue, Goku wasn't the only one holding back in that fight. So... I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't know if Toyotaru is a fan of this character. I hope he is, because I'm a fan, and I would love to see 17 get some more time to shine. But I think that character, if the series continues, is going to do some great things in the upcoming future.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what 17, if he'll have any role at all in the upcoming movie, because right now 17 is got to be one of the most popular characters now. They've definitely had him have a renaissance. But moving back on to the fight, Frieza says, "You suddenly went all out just to try and stop him, didn't you?" And 17 goes like, "Even if I failed, I knew I'd be fine with you still here. Hurry and finish him." And Frieza goes like, "You honor me with your trust." I love all of Frieza's comments when the
I hate humble Frieza. I hate humble Frieza.
Well, dude, I actually like it because I think like he's thanking them, but he's still being that arrogant, evil little jerk at the same time, because he sarcastically says it. And from there, oh boy, let's talk about one of our favorite gods to talk about on this one. After all, let's not forget your infamous comments about this particular god back in our Dragon Ball Super episode 127 review.
In this episode, they have Jiren say, "Belmont, that's enough." And like the bitch he is, Belmont, shut the fuck up.
Belmont.
Oh God,
He
Belmont.
literally in the stand says, Jiren did well. He gave up. All that trash talking, he just gives up and accepts defeat. Did you know Beerus never once gave up? How many times did it look like Goku might be done and out? Beerus never gave up hope. What's your thoughts on Belmont losing faith? He lost faith. It takes Topo to come in here, and I'll get to that, but just right quick, what's your thoughts on Belmont giving up? Belmont or Vermouth, it's pronounced either way, I guess, but what's your thoughts on him actually just giving up the will with Jiren? Jiren almost lost the will. Huh?
Nobody should be shocked at this. No one should be shocked at this.
I'm not shocked. I just cracked up.
Yeah, like, that was clear. At the moment the camera panned on Belmont, I'm like, yep, he's about to start crying. Yep, he's crying. Like, the guy couldn't... Look, you're talking to a man who literally could not even tell the history of Jiren without shutting up the moment Jiren tells him that's enough. Like, what? And you're supposed to be a god of destruction? Stop.
Oh, man. Yeah, absolutely. We got Frieza. So he basically walks up to Jiren, points his finger at Jiren's forehead to start charging a death beam. And he says, "You've lost the spirit to even look at me? What a shame. I can't see your pathetic face at the end." And then that's when Topo yells out. It's Topo, once again, the mortals just completely outshowing their god here. He yells to Jiren. He goes, "What are you doing, Jiren? You would kneel before an enemy? Is this pathetic image how you end? Get up, Jiren!" Frieza goes like, "Your friend is quite obnoxious." And Jiren's like, "I have no friends." And then Jiren basically, he goes, Topo? That's when Topo goes ahead and yells, "What did you build your strength while trusting no one all this time for? Fight for your pride until the end. You may not believe in your own strength, but I do. Until the end. Jiren, you are strong. You are stronger than anyone!" And Jiren's hand starts to form a fist after that pep talk, and Frieza goes like, "Honestly, I feel like vomiting." Classic Frieza. So then from there, Jiren basically yells, "Silence!" and stands up with a flaming aura, showing that he has regained his stamina back somehow after being nearly out. That's the power scaling for you guys in Dragon Ball Super. Jiren swings his whole arm at Frieza, creating this intense flames of energy that forces Frieza to jump back to where 17 is. Now, both of them try their best to hold the energy back while 17 constantly tells Frieza, and I thought this exchange was hilarious. You've got 17 when he's like, "Increase your energy!" And Frieza's constantly responding, "Don't tell me what to do! Increase your energy! Don't tell me what to do!"
He loses Golden Frieza in the process of this.
Yeah, he gives out. Oh my gosh, I was cracking up so much on that whole part. And man, the music is really intense. Once again, Norihito Sumitomi's been knocking it out of the park with the music all through this arc. Some of the best background music we've ever heard in Dragon Ball, I think. But with that said, the struggle is going on, and it basically keeps Jiren. They're trying to keep Jiren's attack back, and this is where I think the energy shield 17 and Frieza are using. Yeah, they're trying to block it. and it starts to form some cracks in it, and Jiren basically goes like, "Impudent grunts, be gone!" And man, it is getting really intense here. And I believe in animation wise, Kenta Yokoya, he comes in and he does a tremendous job with all the colors in this part. So a blue key comes in, and we hear the very heroic music sound, that I believe is like just like an orchestra instrumental of the Limit Breaker X Survivor theme. And behold, it's our hero Son Goku, who apparently used instantaneous movement and is holding it back with one arm because he somehow recovered his stamina. And this is obviously where we get to some of the really good stuff here. Before we get to the finale of this fight, what was your thoughts on this whole part where Frieza nearly had Jiren beat, and it took Toppo to motivate Jiren back to his feet?
I kind of saw it coming, to be honest, only because this entire time, I kind of felt like Jiren was slowly fighting, like, he was starting to kind of get it. He was starting to kind of get why Goku was getting back up. Because I don't know if you noticed, there are several instances when Jiren has Goku, for the most part, knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
And every time Goku gets back up, the look of amazement on Jiren's face.
Oh yeah, I did notice
like,
it. I just got through mentioning about Beerus. He never gave up after all the times Goku lost.
And that's the thing. Jiren's new to that concept. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense to him. So for him to keep seeing it and not understand, it's like, I beat him. He was done. He was down. He saw he couldn't win. How did he get back up? Why did he get back up? You see what I mean? It's the same thing. It's a lot different than like his fight with Vegeta, where if you notice, he could tell it was Vegeta's pride that was keeping him in the game. He could kind of get it. Like, all right, this warrior's fighting for pride. This warrior's fighting for himself. This warrior's fighting for, to save his planet. So it's a survival thing. Jiren could not, for the life of himself, grasp the concept that Goku was fighting for anybody else but himself. It just didn't make sense to him.
But hey, don't forget, Vegeta was fighting for his family.
No, of course he was fighting for his family, but Jiren even says it. He says, your pride is above nobody else. He said, I don't...
Yeah, but I do remember, that was mostly mental, though, right? That was all in Vegeta's mind for what he was fighting for. Goku's the one that was verbally flat out saying that he's fighting for everyone, right?
No, but I'm saying that's how Jiren took it.
Right,
I mean,
I got you.
That's how Jiren took it. He took it as Vegeta fighting for his pride, not because he's fighting for his family. Because Vegeta, he even tells Vegeta, he's like, your pride will be remembered. So that's why it's one of those things where like Jiren just didn't get the concept of it, and like to see it. And then for him to, if you notice, he reacts when Toppo starts cheering him on. And even when he stands up, there's a line you missed. When Jiren stands up and does that blast, when 17 and Frieza block it, there's a line where Vegeta says, it looks like Jiren's gotten over his confidence issues.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, like when he has them both pinned, Jiren literally tells him, or Vegeta tells them, because they're like, where, like this energy, it looks like Jiren's, powered up again. And Vegeta goes, it looks like Jiren's gotten over his confidence issues. So once again, Jiren, he innately reacted to Toppo, but was still under the impression he was fighting for himself. His body reacted to Toppo. His power reacted to Toppo. But Jiren himself, being as stubborn as he was, thought he was still fighting, with his own strength. Because the very next line he tells Goku, which cracks me up since we're on this part, when Goku has the pillar held, Jiren says, Son Goku, once again, you step up to challenge my strength.
Yep.
this isn't about you, but never mind. Yeah, Jiren, forget about the people who just were rooting you on.
Right.
Oh, yeah, it's you. Sure, it's you.
Hey, we move on with that. Definitely, I thought Topo was awesome. We'll definitely get to more of him later. But yeah, so in the big finale of this, the music is awesome during this moment. We have Son Goku. Basically, he starts, we get a lot of good dialogue here, and this was to me some of the most powerful stuff we've had in this tournament, because it really showed just the blurring of the lines between good and evil. Because the cool thing is you've had evil characters in Frieza, you have the good characters in Goku and 17, and these characters, even though that obviously they have different ways of life, they are all fighting for their universe here. And I just thought, this interaction was really cool. So and this is what we've kind of wondered, would it ever come down to this moment? Here it went down. So Goku, he basically tells Frieza, he tells number 17, me and Frieza will go ahead, you take care of the backup. So this is where Frieza comes in. He goes like, are you sure you don't want to stay back too? And Goku basically goes like, Frieza! We've all gone well beyond our limits already. If we don't work together and fight, Universe 7 is gonna be erased! And then Jiren, that's where, once again, as Linux mentioned earlier, he says, Son Goku, again, you stand before me. And Jiren basically powers up again, showing that he's once again breaking beyond his limits. And basically Goku is, despite let's see, what am I saying here, even though he's supposed to be depleted of energy after he lost his full his mastered Migate no Gokui form, the heat reaches all the way up into the bleachers. So you have Gohan at the point, he's saying an amazing amount of energy is gathering in Jiren, and Vegeta says, it looks like Jiren's gotten over his issues. And Goku then basically says that Jiren really is amazing. He got this strong all by himself. Even all of us together might not be able to beat him. And Frieza then yells, you haven't forgotten your promise to resurrect me, have you? And Goku, just sounding puzzled, he's like, Frieza. And then Frieza yells back, I'm asking you if you still remember. And then Goku just has this look like, really? And he's like, so long as you don't break your promise, I'll keep mine. You know that better than anyone, don't you? And then Frieza basically starts, and I'm pretty sure this irritated Linux, he basically gets angry, and because Goku's going like, Frieza? And he's like, that native part of you makes me want to vomit. But right now, I'm grateful for it. Which probably took Linux heart and shattered it into pieces. Oh, isn't that so adorable? Frieza appreciative of Goku. Who thought we ever see that? Oh. LinuxVirus here is allergic to BS.
Yeah, legit. Man.
Do it! Oh boy. So 17 then comes in, and this is probably why he still loves 17. He goes like, are you two done making up yet? And then Frieza goes like, we'll make up over my dead body. And then after this, this is where, to finish the finale off, everyone's favorite animator, Yuya Takahashi, comes in to do the animation. I know Yamaro finished up some of his, I guess, tried to make it look more consistent, because Takahashi is very detailed with his several layers of shading, and you see just all pitch black hair and everything in there. But Yuya Takahashi, really helped establish a new set of animation for Dragon Ball Super, when it went through its dark time. So it was really great to see him here in the finale. And what a Yuya Takahashi, dude. This next scene, he completely knocked it out of the park, man. This is just some of the best hand-to-hand action we've ever seen in Dragon Ball. So basically from here, they end up breaking Jiren's attack, which shatters like glass. So from here, the ultimate battle / KKK Wakashi Danze theme plays for the finale here of the tournament. So here's how it all goes down. Jiren, he charges forward, planning pretty much basically it looks like they headbutt each other, and it looks sick the way it did. But everyone gets back on the ground, and Vegeta is in complete disbelief of what he's seeing, along with all the other Z fighters, because who ever thought we would ever see this in Dragon Ball? Son Goku and Frieza working together as a cohesive unit and actually having really good what's the word I'm thinking?
Synergy.
Yeah, or the way
really
they're
synergy.
Yeah, their coordinated attack, the way they synced up better than Goku and Vegeta did when they were fighting Jiren. And so basically here's how it goes down. Jiren punches Goku in the gut, and then Goku grabs Jiren's arm, allowing Frieza to knee Jiren in the face. Jiren recovers and charges forward towards Goku and Frieza again. Maybe I wish it came down to Goku and Vegeta, but it's down here to Goku and Frieza in the end. But they get out of the way as Jiren is now faced with a golden ki blast from Junagano number 17 that sends Jiren towards the timekeeper pillar, which I don't know if you guys noticed. It didn't just seem like they just in the last few episodes. What happened to that time?
Yeah,
were we like a minute? Like what happened? Like 2 seconds or something? I was like, oh wow, okay. So yeah, time just apparently stopped or whatever, and they just said, we've got very little time left. All right, whatever. I was really hoping they would do my idea where it was gonna come down to like the last 4 episodes. They'd be like, 1 second is left. Now about 3/4 of a second is left. Next episode, about nearly less than a fraction of a second is left. Like, just get ridiculous. You've gone this far. Why not? They didn't do that though. So basically, Goku and Frieza run towards Jiren, and number 17 sends 3 blue ki blasts that send Jiren upward, with each of them hitting him, sending him pinned against the pillar, similar to the way Goku was pinned up against the rock when he fought Majin Vegeta, and he threw those like rock ki blasts on him and everything. And I'm glad I actually watched this on multiple views, because Linux actually called me up right after the episode ended, and I was like, so 17 basically just stood there and let Goku and Frieza do all the work. And now I see, like, when I watched it back and everything, I actually see that, okay, he did actually use some of the ki blasts, which was very smart, because hey, Goku and Frieza, well, actually, you know what, I will get into it a little bit later on why I like this strategy. Let me finish up here with the recap. Jiren, basically from this, they do this really cool thing where Goku and Frieza are jumping from rubble to rubble, and they do a punch kick combo on Jiren, with Goku punching him in the gut and Frieza kicking him in the neck. And Jiren, he basically capitalizes off this with a red glow, and the roar, it just screams, it's so intense, and the sheer fierceness of these air punches that he gives to Goku and Frieza just by yelling, it's insane. He then chops Goku right on the left trapezius muscle. Yeah, I had to pause this in order to make sure I'm getting all this action down here. So after he chops Goku on the left trapezius muscle, he then follows this up by doing something like a hammer fence to Frieza on his chest and bicep, sending him into the rubble as well. Jiren quickly then jumps down, charging towards 17, but right behind him is Goku and Frieza, quickly recovering and charging down after him. And Jiren comes crashing down 17's Ki Valley, sending 17 flying. Oh yeah, we're on 17's Ki Valley, sending him flying. But before Jiren can attack him, Frieza comes in, and they're both falling right down, and he yells to Goku, "Throw me at him!" And Goku goes like, "Get it!" And then from there, Goku does this really cool thing where Goku does a flip, a forward flip, and he lands on his feet, sliding down the time pillar, and Goku then gets in position as if he's playing volleyball. Frieza then lands on Goku's double fist, and then Goku launches Frieza at Jiren. Frieza then unleashes the Nova Strike, I think, which was the technique that he used in the video games, and it's the technique that he actually used to get the upper hand on Goku in their first fight when he did the Kamehameha. So anyways, moving from there, the technique that he hits during this, it's dead on, and when the dust settles, 17 is left hanging from the remaining amount of rubble, and it's revealed that Frieza is actually planning to, who would have ever thought, sacrifice himself for the team. Frieza is gonna take one for the Z Fighters. Oh my gosh, whoever thought they would see this? I'm like, oh, Frieza's going to sacrifice. Even the Z Fighters like, he's gonna sacrifice himself. He's taking one for a team. So if you guys ever wondered, was Frieza gonna be, we wondered so much at the beginning of this arc, was Frieza gonna be a team player? Well, he was. Like, it's come down to this. Like, this is the one thing I think most of us thought he was not going to do. Frieza would not sacrifice himself for the team, but he's doing it. Like, this is surreal. You guys can't, if you haven't watched the original Dragon Ball Z and you just went into Super, you have to watch Z to fathom how surreal this entire sequence is. Man, so we actually from there, yeah, he's planning to try and take himself out, but Jiren, he understands and sees what Frieza's doing. So to make sure as he's getting closer to being eliminated, Jiren, he gets a hold of Frieza's tail and breaks his grip, and they both basically go ahead and spiral down onto the last pieces of rubble left towards the bottom of the stage. But when the dust clears, and a lot of people miss this. A lot of people actually miss this. You really have to pause it because the way, I guess, if it was Takahashi, the way he may have animated this, he made it very subtle. So what happens is Jiren, he ends up ripping off Frieza's tail when he slams him into the ground, or I think it was if he stepped on it or something like that. And if you pause it, you can see Frieza's tail go ahead and move quickly out the frame. So if a lot of you were wondering how Frieza got his tail cut in half, that's how. Just like Vegeta, dude, Frieza constantly always gets battle damage on that tail with a cut. It's always a clean cut. Always a clean cut. You get hit with a Genki Dama, it gets a clean cut. The only time this ever made sense was when Krillin did the Kienzine on him, and it cut Destructible Disc for you guys in the Funimation dub, and it cut it. That's the only time it makes sense. Why every single time else is it a clean cut? I mean, I'm fine with the tail being battle damage, but make it look raggedy or something. So, yeah, man, it's gotta be a running gag from the animators at this point. I'm pretty sure they grew, a lot of the newer animators and that stuff, they probably grew up playing the video games and everything, and they always figure like, yeah, let's just make that the default battle damage. But yeah, with that said in mind, guys, Frieza is hanging on Jiren's arm despite all this. So during all this, Jiren swings his arm through the rubble with Frieza still trying to hang on. So Goku comes charging in, flickering in and out of Super Saiyajin form, Super Saiyan, known in the Funimation dub, because he is so low on ki right now, which I thought was really cool, just to show how low of energy Goku's drained of, just having his hair flick back and forth between Super Saiyan and that's Super Saiyan, basically, way you pronounce it here in English, but Super Saiyan in the Funimation dub. Yeah, I thought that was really cool touch, basically, to show that. So Goku, yeah, he comes in and he pushes, him and Frieza both push Jiren closer to the edge, and this is where, 17, he's like, finish it! And Beerus is like, Gaka! Frieza! And everybody says, do it! That brings me back memories to when Son Goku used the Super Genki Dama to destroy Kid Buu. Man, I love that moment. And one of my favorite all-time Dragon Ball moments. So Goku and Frieza then finally push Jiren, along with themselves off the stage. And Jiren then basically thinks to himself, so this is trust. Universe 7's power. And Goku and Frieza, with both their hands on Jiren's chest, then power up using all the remaining ki left. Goku even manages to transform into a Super Saiyan / Super Saiyan temporarily, as both of them unleash a huge huge ki explosion that wipes out the remaining rubble near them. Last thing we see is the blinding flash of light as all three warriors disappear, with all three warriors disappearing, and 17 is left watching with the white ki explosion in the background that Goku and Frieza created. And that basically clears. So from there, we didn't see, we go to the bleachers where Goku and Frieza are both shown eliminated on the stands, and then followed up by Jiren being eliminated. And there you guys have it, the winner of the Tournament of Power. Who would have ever thought? Lapis, Junagano, Sideboard 17, number 17, and of course, as stated in the Funimation dub, Android 17. And this is what led many people to say he is the MVP. Where's Jim Ross when you needed to do? By God, 17 has won it. Wow. Before we get to the aftermath, you guys heard how hyped I was. The action, the ending sequence to this was incredible. It was not obviously the most flashy in terms of visuals, but just in terms of the coordinated attacks and just the choreography of it all. Like I said, Yuya Takahashi knocked it out of the park with the animation. Man, this was incredible. And for me, it was just so surreal seeing that image of Goku and Frieza. And I love the symbolism about how they decided to end it with their classic epic battle. Frieza in his classic final form, Goku is a Super Saiyan, both warriors standing there hand in hand together to defeat Jiren. Man, that was surreal and incredible. I really liked the way this was done. It was definitely unique. It actually breaks the status quo sometimes in Dragon Ball when you have like the big epic ki blast struggle. Like, this is cool. I appreciate stuff like this. Like, one of my favorite fights, Goku versus Piccolo in the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai. Like, it didn't end in a big struggle. It was very hand-to-hand combat, and it just ended with Goku having doing the Boku no Jutsu or flying technique to bam hit do that last headbutt to basically finish off Piccolo. So I loved it. I thought it was really cool. Like, the Goku and Vegeta first fight, how that really just came down to like who's out of energy and what tactic can we use, whether Frieza, he doesn't have enough energy for Ozuru Gohan falling on top of him. So dude, I love this. I thought it was incredible, and I like the strategy. I was going to talk about the strategy. I really like the idea is that Goku and Frieza realize 17 has a bunch of stamina left, so let's use him to constantly shoot ki blasts because he can keep that up for an eternity while they go, and they realize, at the end of the day, if him and Frieza go, maybe if they fail to get Jiren out, they can at least wear Jiren down enough and hope that basically the difference maker comes down to the fact that 17 has all his stamina left and Jiren has none. So I really liked it, but thankfully it did work out that way. I really like the smart strategy here, and it really goes to show you what this tournament meant, that Frieza and Goku put their differences aside and worked so well together. I love this ending. It was incredible. That's what I got to say about it. All right, I'll go ahead and take a break from here and let you go ahead. What was your thoughts on this whole entire fight sequence? Because I know you've said you've watched this over so many times, Linux. Well, let's hear from you. You're a longtime Dragon Ball fan. Was this surreal for you?
I wouldn't even say surreal, to be honest. I was shocked that Goku and Frieza were actually fighting together the first time I watched it. It kind of caught me off guard for a second. But I think the part that gets overlooked in here, I think we're all underestimating how strong Jiren actually is. Because you gotta remember, he was tapped out, Goku was tapped out, Frieza was tapped out, and it still took 3 of them to collectively beat him.
Oh yeah, he has them beat in terms of natural strength.
Just like, the guy is an animal. He's an animal with the ability to get stronger. That's the scary thing about it. So definitely this just shows, like, I hope we get a chance to see more of Jiren. In a way, he kind of raises the power scaling a lot. Because he whoever Goku fights next, and I'll touch base on this later. Whoever Goku fights next, I got a feeling that they'll be strong, but they won't be as strong as Jiren. I'll leave it at that until we finish talking about the rest of the episode, but I'll double back to that point. Just remember, I think Jiren sets the bar for what's to come later in the Dragon Ball series. That being said, I love this episode. 17 proving why he's the MVP. The man played one of the most critical parts in terms of beating Jiren. Like, look at his track record throughout this tournament. Like, if you take a step back and look at this track record, he's defeated some of the most problematic enemies in this tournament. That one cricket that everybody had a hard time fighting against that actually ended up eliminating Piccolo. 17 was able to kill. Yeah.
No love and respect for you. I didn't like when Dragon Ball GT did Piccolo bogus and leave him in hell after the good things that he had did. And this is how he gets thrown out in this tournament. This is possibly the last hurrah for all the heroes that we grew up watching. I'm like, Piccolo? Oh my gosh. But let's save that for when we actually review the entire arc.
So yeah, I was about to say, you got that. You got, who else did 17 beat? He beat one of the three princesses from, what is that, Universe 4? 5?
It was one of those. I don't remember. I know which one you're.
Yeah,
I know
Universe 5?
you're
Yeah,
talking
Ribrianne's
about the one that
universe.
Ribrianne was
He
a part
he
of.
beat two of them, actually. Now that I think about it.
And his sister,
He's the one who beat up the
his
flyer,
sister became the
then
hero of all of the internet fans on Dragon Ball, when she finally took out Ribrianne.
Yeah. But like 17 he beat two of the problematic people from Ribrianne's universe. He was the main reason everybody beat Analyza. Because he was able to.
Yep.
Yeah, he was the main reason they were able to beat him, because Analyza was a problem and he was gonna destroy the stage. Which, by the way, Zeno, you should have DQ'd him because he was flying, but then again, I guess because he had wings, it counted. So you got to remember, he was gonna wipe out the stage, but 17 realized that headpiece that was in his forehead was what was generating his powers, so he attacked that. He played a critical role in that. He played a huge role as far as like distracting Topo. The guy has a track record. He has a track record of just beating some of the most difficult, some of the most annoying, some of the toughest enemies in the tournament. There's no arguing that. You know, there's no arguing that. He played the tournament how it should have been played. And that was, he capitalized on weaknesses. He utilized his team to the best of their ability when they let him. And he never stopped thinking, how can I do this as easy as possible? He never stopped thinking that.
Well said. Well said.
You know, 17, I couldn't think of anybody else who deserved it. And this is no shade to Goku. If Goku would have got MVP, it would not have had the same impact. If he would have won the tournament, it wouldn't have had the same impact. It wouldn't have. It wouldn't have. If anybody else would have won that tournament, it wouldn't have.
I'm a huge Son Goku fan, and I 100% agree with you.
You know, so it's, you know, it was nice. It was nice to see them take that direction. It was nice, but I also like the fact that Goku got eliminated, because you got to think, in a way, it goes to show Goku and Jiren really didn't get a definitive winner.
I think I would say they did, though, in terms of when they were at their full power. Goku even says it. At their full power, Goku, when he was Migate no Goku, without question, he got the best of Jiren. But as far as the way it ended on the technicality, when they're at their strongest, it looks like Goku can beat. He did. He beat Jiren. But in terms of natural strength, Jiren's got him beat out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think that fight has a conclusion. You see what I mean? It has an arguable conclusion because of the fact, yeah, Goku had him beat. You know, it has an arguable conclusion, but I wouldn't say it. I don't know. Part of me feels like that fight is left on a cliffhanger still. like part of me still wouldn't give it 100% to Goku just yet. You see what I mean? Like Jiren still has a fight in him, obviously, but I would just like to see where that fight go. I kind of wanted it to be like Hit versus, like how Hit versus Goku was for the second time, where they were able to actually fight it out and realize like they were pretty much even.
Yeah, I remember. I think it came down to like one of those things where if Goku was able to maintain his full-powered Migate no Goki form, Jiren obviously wouldn't have stand a chance. Like the fact that he struggled with Golden Frieza in his weakened state is once again definitely testament to saying that, okay, he obviously if Goku's at full power, like the way they ended it, they really like I say Toriyama or if it was the writers that put it together, whoever put that portion together, definitely showed that okay, they established that Goku's full powered Ultra Instinct is definitely the best at Jiren. So definitely I agree though. It'd definitely be interesting to see them come back to that fight 1-on-1.
Definitely. But that's all I really got to say about it. 17 is the GOAT. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, so in the concluding moments here, you got Goku, and I like this moment. Hopefully you liked it after Nathan kind of ripped your heart out a little bit with all the nice comments Frieza was saying, where Goku's like, Frieza! And Frieza quickly goes, stop! Don't you start thanking me. I'll be satisfied so long as you keep your promise. Yeah, I know. And that's where Grand Priest then announces, and I actually did like that moment too, because I like that they're gonna say, hey, Frieza's not gonna get all mushy on us now, mushy or whatever. So the Grand Priest, he announces Universe 11 shall be erased, and we get a very emotional moment right here between Toppo, and this is actually, it's an emotional moment, but I realized how big Toppo's hand was. Jiren's whole
you just reminded me of that.
Jiren's whole upper body, and Jiren's a big dude. His whole upper body fits completely in Toppo's hand. This is the first time I realized how big this dude's fists were. Wow. Yeah. Toppo says, Jiren, thank you. And Jiren, with hardly anything left, he goes like, I treated you all with contempt during the fight. And Goku comes in. Jiren, I know we just finished fighting, but I still ain't had enough yet. I know you'll probably hate this, but I think we both got stronger together by fighting. I want to see you again. And Jiren then smiles, and they all are pretty much murdered by the two Xenos, and Universe 11 is completely wiped from existence. Yeah, when you say murder like that, it's pretty much what happens, but they got erased, right? But yeah, they're all gone. So there we go. Obviously, Jiren ain't doing nothing against Zeno, but I think we all knew that. But Vegeta, he then says, it was quite impressive. With Goku saying, yeah. And then the Grand Priest then asks Lapis what his wish is. And sorry, once again, I know in one of the previous we said Zalama was the name of the dragon, but I totally got that mixed up, so I apologize for that botch. Zalama, I believe, was the creator of the Super Dragon Balls, and I guess the dragon's name is Super Shenlong, and they'll probably be Super Shenron, and obviously in the Funimation dub.
Super Shenlong.
Yeah, Shenlong's what Shenlong is his name, and is his name in the original Japanese version.
Wishes this his game.
Moving on. So yeah, from here, his I don't even know here. Did they scale him down? Because he took up all the universes. And here, he basically was just as big as the fighting stage, unless we're supposedly the fighting stage was as big as all the multi-universes.
I mean, to be fair, they did say that everything else that wasn't that stage was a void.
Well, yeah, it's the world of void, so it could just be the effects of the world of void.
That could have worked.
Yeah, I got you. So basically, 17 then states that his wish is to, so this is what we're all waiting for, what's going to be, to bring back all of the erased universes, which basically means this entire arc was a waste of our time and we shouldn't have even watched. I'm just kidding. No, but there are people out there who feel, I'm being sarcastic, dude. I'll get more into the arc towards later, but no, I don't think this arc was a waste of time at all. We got a lot of interesting characters, but there were fans definitely who were mad about this. They feel like, then what was the purpose of watching the year and a half that it took for this whole thing to air? But yeah, this puts a smile on Son Goku's face, Gohan and Vegeta's faces as well as Krudin. He has a dramatic reaction, surprisingly the most to his wife Juhachigo, because she basically states I'll get to 18 in a moment actually, but yeah, the Grand Priest states to Super Shenlong the wish backwards and all the universes are restored. We see I loved all the interactions they had, like Kel and Khalifa and Kaba, especially realizing that his master kept his wish, and Kel and Khalifa wanting to go Super Saiyan 3. And you have Universe 11, which I kind of found funny that there was no time to really mourn their loss. Like literally, like it was like 1 minute they were dead and now they're back. Like there was no time to mourn their loss. Such is the case when it comes to Dragon Ball. It's basically Jiren is realizing that, okay, yeah, Son Goku's, said he wanted a second fight. Like I said, I think that was one of the quick death to back to life sequences we've ever had in Dragon Ball. But this is really cool. Toppo finally gets Jiren back here. he goes, so Jiren. And Jiren says, in the end, Son Goku said he wanted to see me again. But because I've lived my life bound by my past, I can't form connections with anyone. And Toppo then goes like, Jiren, have you always been such a coward? In the final battle, you tried to answer all of our hopes when you stood up again. Don't you think a connection formed between us for the first time? And Jiren goes like, Toppo. And he says, next time we meet them, we won't lose again. And Jiren basically goes like, right. And Jiren basically smiles and he makes a fist and he looks into the sky and says, next time I'll win, I'll be seeing you, Son Goku. So before we get to the next part, how did you enjoy seeing all the universes? I love the way it was animated and I love the way it came out.
The look on Universe 8 is the best in that entire sequence. With the Kai on top of the rock, you got the brothers, you got the Danger, the trio.
Yeah.
You got the brothers looking confident, but then you got the Kai and the God of Destruction like, what the fuck? We're back? Like, who the hell brought us back?
Hey, I know you're going to like this one. Did you notice, too, when they went to Universe 11, you had Belmont looking up in the sky with his arms back, looking up in he has this sad look on his face. He had that face like, I talked a lot of crap. and
I lost.
I got erased. And I'm just going to sit here and look sad and shut up. Like, he looked like he was a beaten man. He had nothing to say. And what could you say? I loved that.
That was the look of a man who took a L. He took a L, a
personal
L.
Oh,
that man got bodied.
What could he say? He talked all that trash. What could he say? Oh,
it wasn't nothing he could say. He had to hold that.
Oh, man.
He had to hold all that.
Oh, yeah. I just thought that was funny when they animated the way he looked. But, yeah. Did you enjoy this Jiren and Toppo reaction? Because I remember you calling me up afterwards, and you were saying that, because there's been a lot of talk. People didn't like Jiren's character, and I think me and you both are agreeing that with how it all ended up, we do like the Jiren character, and we got some great character development. Now for the first time, he's understand this taught him what trust is, and now we're hopefully moving forward. We'll see a new Jiren who, he'll be more. He's finally making those connections with friends. He's not afraid to try and not make those connections again. So I say kudos to the writers, Toriyama. I thought we got some good character development here with Jiren. Your thoughts on this?
To be fair, I could care less about Jiren. What I really want to see now are the other 5 universes that were destroyed.
We'll get to that later.
I don't think
this is quite different though. You called me up, dude, right
Fish?
after the episode. You were telling me about the character development out of Jiren, that you really enjoyed it.
No.
You said you actually gained
did.
respect for Jiren, is what you actually told me.
I did, and I think everybody else did, because Jiren had a really good character development moment, and he didn't approach it to where like he was cocky, he was focused on his own power. He was like, you know what, I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna try this again and see how this works. I'm not concerned with that. My biggest concern is the fact that there were 18 universes.
Well, let's hold on. We'll get to that.
We had 12. No. We had 18 universes.
We haven't gotten to that part in the review yet.
There are 6 universes that popped back up.
Dude, hold that thought. We will talk about that at the end of this discussion when we go through what might await in the future of Dragon Ball. So just hold it in for a moment. We're gonna move on, guys. We'll definitely get to that. So 18 has this dramatic reaction, and I'm a big 18 fan, but Lazui here, I was like, okay, because here she jumps off the bleachers. That's where Kuririn has that dramatic reaction, and she's basically comes up to 17 and shaking him, and it sounds like she's crying and everything, saying like, but what about your family, taking your family out and everything, on the nice cruise? I'm sitting here like, y'all just gonna have Juhachi go up here, act like y'all ain't friends with Mr. Satan, y'all ain't friends with Boma, who are all both filthy rich and could easily go ahead and I'm pretty sure they would gladly pay for him, which they obviously end up doing, because this man saved the entire multiverse. He saved all of existence everywhere. That man deserves whatever he wants. And if all he wants is a cruise, here's the check. Have a good, in fact, keep it all. So I thought them having 18 cry like this was just like, really, like she's actually crying. Like, I don't know, did that make you, like, how did you feel to see 18 crying over this to 17? Like, why would you bring back all the multiverse when you wanted to have a cruise with your sibling? Like, you guys are friends with people who are filthy rich.
See, this goes back to what I was saying about 17 always thinking. Like, I'm pretty sure he took that into consideration. Like, you know what? I can do what I want to do, whatever. Right now, this is a little bit more important.
I think he made that decision too when he looked like he was he sacrificed himself so that Goku and Vegeta could go on. At that point, I think that's when he realized that. But definitely. So we have, everybody is enjoying it, and I thought, cool Frieza moment here. He comes in, he says, "If we are finished here, would you be so kind as to hurry and send me back to hell?" And Goku's like, "But you still got time left, don't you?" And Frieza says, "Everyone enjoying their happy endings is no different than hell for me." And then Whis comes in, "Then why don't you be happy too, Frieza?" And then basically points his staff towards Frieza, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, resurrects Frieza. And you want to talk about a game changer for the entire series moving forward. I was as shocked as the entire Z-Fighter team. And I didn't mention this yet.
The look on Krilla's face was my exact look.
Except for to the exceptions of 17 and 18 who were like, meh. they didn't care. But the thing about here, and probably because they didn't really have any history with Frieza, but the thing here is I actually watched this episode for the first time in Japanese, so I didn't understand anything. So I watched the raw version because I just wanted to have that experience of what it's like to watch the Dragon Ball series without any subtitles. And but clearly I could tell what was happening here. I was shocked. Whis has the ability to resurrect, and you might as well. I've been telling.
That means all the angels have that ability.
Probably so. And I'm going to say this. This means you might as well call the series moving forward Whis Super, because now there is no point.
Whis Super?
Yes, Whis Super, because there is no point to Dragon Balls being around. The whole series, everything in this entire franchise have ultimately revolved some way or another around the Dragon Balls. Whis can now resurrect people. This means any villain moving forward in the series, if you mess with Son Goku, he's boys with Beerus, he's boys with Whis, he's boys with Zeno. Oh my gosh. You know, in professional wrestling, there's a thing called backstage politics, where a wrestler might highly benefit, their on-screen character highly benefits because of maybe the leverage they're able to play behind the scenes with roles. Anybody who follows wrestling on the internet knows they use leverage. Basically, so anybody who follows it on wrestling, they'll be able to, on the online, they'll know that. So I feel like if this had to be translated to the Dragon Ball world, Son Goku is doing very good at using his writing politics here. He knows how to make his friends. He's homies with Beerus, Whis, and Zeno. And we've seen in the series already that Zamasu has found that out the hard way, because we now know that if the villain gets as far as to basically taking over the entire multiverse, it's all good. Zeno's got Goku's back. Goku knows.
I forgot he had that button.
Yes, Goku. So Goku has friends in high places. Our boy Son Goku has really transitioned into understanding that if he can't do it on his own, hey, he's got 3 high-powered deities that will be right there for him. So he needs somebody to come in and stop a villain in the present timeline. Beerus got his back. Present-day Zamasu found that out the hard way. He needs somebody to be resurrected. Hey, we saw that with Frieza. Whis has got his back. Hey, the entire multiverse is in danger. Guess what? Zeno's got his back. I wouldn't want to be the villain who's going to mess with Son Goku moving forward. I certainly wouldn't. So this is quite the game changer, and I've always complained that Super lacks tension, and this continues. Toriyama continues to, I don't even know if this was his idea. We got to see whose idea it was whenever the interviews come out about it. But Whis having this ability, I feel, is quite the further taking down the tension in the series. I mean, they really don't need the Dragon Balls now. So we got to see how they're going to do this moving
There has
forward.
to be some type of stipulation to that. I think.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on this dude? Just randomly pulling this resurrection ability out of nowhere, in as far as moving forward in the series in terms of that.
There has to be either a stipulation or something that has to be met in order for Whis to do that. I refuse to believe he could just whip that out willy-nilly. He probably can, but I'm pretty sure like there's a consequence to him doing it.
Hopefully.
Like it's just like his temporal do-over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he has like what, 5 minutes, was it?
Yeah, he can only do 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So there has to be some like limitation. Like obviously, I think if a person, he might be able to do it. Like, well, you can't say like if they immediately died. Maybe they have to be dead for a certain amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to think, Frieza's been dead for a long time. Like maybe if he died in that tournament, I don't think Whis would have been able to bring him back. So maybe it's one of those things where it's kind of like a genie in the bottle, where if they're dead immediately, Whis cannot bring them back. They have to be dead for a while. So kind of like how Baba's ability works, where she can't go get you. You have to like wait a little bit, and then she can go get your spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking maybe it's something like that, because I got a feeling that's gonna come back to that might happen in the movie. That potentially someone may die, and they think, oh, we could just have Whis do it. We don't have to go for the Dragon Balls. And Whis is like, I can't bring them back. Why? Because I can't bring them back when they're like freshly gone. They have to be gone for a significant amount of time.
Well, we gotta see, definitely. Toriyama is a Discovery writer, so a lot of things in Dragon Ball he's just made up as he went along. So he probably obviously knew he wanted to bring Frieza back and just gave him this technique, and we'll figure it out later. So yeah, we gotta see what it means moving forward. You have Frieza here. He goes like, "Are you sure about this? I don't intend to stop my evil ways." And Goku says, "Then I'll go and defeat you." And Frieza basically says, "Well, we shall see." And both Zenos come flying down, and Goku's like shaking their heads and everything, and stuff, taking them up and down and stuff like that. They're very impressed with how Goku did in this tournament. And it's revealed to us that, I think if I didn't mention, Beerus, for doing a good job, Beerus told Whis to restore Frieza back to life. The Grand Priest, though, he has another big, huge revelation that's shown. He's talking to the Kaioshins and Beerus, and he basically says that Zeno was expecting the winner to wish all the universes back to be restored, and if the winner didn't and used something for, did a selfish wish, then he would have wiped everything out. And this is what makes Whis and Vados basically mention how after such a hard-fought tournament, it seems that even perhaps Zeno has expectations. I feel like this is a dig at Zamasu or something. So basically, Negan, or as we hear in Funimation of mortals. But James Masters, by the way, is killing it. I feel is Hasu in the in the Funimation dub right now.
The guy's a beast.
Yes, definitely. I'm glad he's been able to redeem himself in the eyes of Dragon Ball fans from his being associated with Dragon Ball Evolution when he was Piccolo. But that being said, back to the arc here. I feel like Zeno channeled his inner Zamasu, basically. He pretty much did this to test basically if any of the universes had a good heart out there. So it's a good thing Frieza did not win this, because he would have wiped everything out.
It's a good thing Jiren didn't win this.
Oh yeah, he gosh. But yeah, definitely. So the thing here is, with Zeno, I wonder, does that mean he was gonna wipe out the Grand Priest? Because the Grand Priest was all chilled through this whole thing, knowing that if a good guy didn't win,
the angels weren't gonna be touched.
Also, the Grand Priest and the angels definitely would have been all good, because apparently Zeno wiped them all out in Trunks' timeline. So everything's been wiped out.
He wiped them all out in Trunks' timeline? No, I don't think he did. I think the Grand Priest and the Angels are still good in Trunks' timeline.
What are they going to do in an empty timeline, though? An empty timeline. See,
I mean,
this is stuff they probably obviously didn't even put any thought into, but yeah.
I mean, it's not like they don't have company. They have themselves.
Right. So it's not he's with all his children, right?
They clearly don't need to eat to survive.
A really funny moment right here where I think both Zenos, they ask Son Goku what's next. And I love the way this was all animated. But yeah, I think before that, though, we said, but Goku and his friends can change something that mortals can change. So yeah, after they asked him what's next, you see Beerus quickly flies past Whis and Vados and cover Goku's mouth, because you bet Goku was gonna say, how about a second universal tournament of power? And they would have obviously agreed and yes, keep Goku's mouth shut at this point. And Beerus goes my apologies, Grand Zeno. Perhaps another time. Even the Kaioshin come to ask Zeno to excuse them as they'll be leaving now. So some quick, fast action from there. And the Grand Priest is with all his children to congratulate Universe 7 on a hard-fought victory. So in the end, the Grand Priest did not end up being evil. So yeah, it's kind of like what Little Miss Undead said back in our episode 122 review of Dragon Ball Super, and that was...
It's not really surprising. The Grand Priest is kind of a dick.
The savagery.
He is a dick.
So he was just doing that to F with everybody. just to screw around with him. That's why he shows like all that evil look on him when he would destroy it. Everybody's like, oh man, you see how evil he's looking? Yikes. So then from here, we end up following where I believe this is foreshadowing to the audience. Zeno says, "Say, Goku, will you come back?" And Goku says, "Sure, I promise. See ya, Zenny." And then they go like, "Yeah!" And I think that's basically Goku and Zeno after the fist bump. That's their way of letting us audience know that Son Goku will indeed be back. And then we get the intro of that song finally playing. Before we move on to the finale of this episode, what was your thoughts on Beerus' quick reaction to this and that the revealing that Zeno had foreshadowed this all along? And what is your thoughts too on some of the fans feeling that this made the whole entire arc pointless?
I disagree. Like I said, this, if anything, this opens up more possibilities because I don't think people took into account that wish. Like I said, there were 18 universes. 6 of them we know for a fact Zeno destroyed. And 17
yeah, actually, we can get into that now.
all back. He brought them all back. So you don't know who's in those other universes. You don't know what, heroes are in those other universes. You don't know what villains are in those universes. Maybe Zeno destroyed those universes for a reason.
Yeah, it does open up interesting plot points that can be used now moving forward.
But you gotta remember, we've been shown Zeno is volatile, so obviously if you make him mad, he has the tendency to... Actually, no, I take that back. To be fair, Zeno isn't volatile.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, any instance in which we've seen Zeno destroy something, it's been because it's gone against a rule. Think about this. When Goku summons him for Zamasu, Zeno doesn't immediately show up and then just destroy it because he's annoyed. He destroys it because Zamasu challenges him and then he says, "You're corrupt. This entire world is corrupt. It needs to go."
Yeah, he didn't like the way the key was feeling.
Yeah, you see what I mean? Think about it. When he got rid of Frost, as evil as Frost was, as dirty as Frost was, Zeno didn't get rid of him until he broke the rules. Same thing with the universes. As long as the universes abided by the rules, Zeno didn't destroy them until everybody was out.
Right.
He even gave certain people who broke the rules second chances. So Zeno isn't a power-hungry type of leader. He's actually pretty benevolent if you think about it. So you got to remember, you're talking about a guy who does this. He obviously puts thought into the decisions he's making because he doesn't just needlessly destroy universes. They have to be messing up in one way, shape, or form, whether they're like not doing their job, they're allowing things to corrupt the universe, everything has gone bad, and he's like, you know what, we just got to start over.
Vados and Whis were sort of surprised. There's like, even Zeno might have expectations.
So this is why, if you think about it, Zeno knowingly destroyed 6 universes. Why? They never answered that. Beerus tells you he destroyed them, but Whis and Beerus never say why, and they know why. Yeah. So I'm curious. I'm very curious. Will this play into the new movie? Does this have something to do with the new big bad in the next movie? Does this have something to do with the next super series that gets made? You never know. So
yeah, I'm very curious as well to wonder if basically they weren't specific, and we have to see what Toyotaro is going to say in the manga when they write out the dialogue there. When he writes out the dialogue there, it's very one of those things where I'm wondering, was this a case that they weren't thinking about that and they just won't acknowledge those other universes, or was this intentionally done to go? And this is actually, if it is intentionally, it's a very good way to go about things, because at this point it would logically make sense. Like, looking at that Zamasu arc, you're wondering, like, where the heck was Jiren in all these other universes that had such all this incredible strength at, and they're never shown in there. So you kind of wonder, like, we've seen all the best that all the multiverses have to offer, so it's like, who's gonna really step up to be even stronger than Jiren? But then you open the possibility of these 6 new universes that possibly may have gotten Wish back as well. Now you can introduce new villains that might be even stronger than Jiren. So hopefully it is the route they're going, because I think that basically opens up new possibilities for sure. And then
where people were complaining, I was thinking of so many different angles and ways to
I agree.
use this. So
I agree, definitely.
Long story short, guys, stop bitching.
Yeah, and like you said, man, if you're a Dragon Ball fan this long, everybody gets Wish back. It's if you've been following this franchise this long, then you should know what you're getting yourself into, pretty much. So with that said, they basically play the what was the song? They play the they play Kiyoshi Hikawa's Limit Breaker X Survivor, which is probably the reason why we didn't get the intro in the beginning, so they can make room for this. So we get a lot of cool down to earth moments where they're all back, including Frieza. They're all at Bulma's house watching the sun rise. I love how they animated Frieza to be in the shadows. Like, yeah, he doesn't want any part of this, and it's just so funny to see Frieza hanging out with the Sea Fighters at Capsule Corporation. So yeah, the narrator states that everybody goes back to their daily lives. We've got a crying Bulma that hugs Vegeta while he's holding their daughter Brawl, who's known as Bula in the Funimation dub. We get Trunks and Goten. You guys still exist? Like, what happened since the beginning? Oh man. They protected 17's island and Maryland. Isn't that weird that 18 and Kuririn would drop off their daughter to a place that they know has a bunch of animals that are gonna, and a bunch of thieves or whatever, gonna come and try to terrorize the island and the animals? Like, here's who's gonna babysit. Like, it's just interesting. I don't think they gave too much care at all about Goten and Trunks' whole arc. Back in Dragon Ball Z, we would have saw a lot of cutaways from the break up the action, like just comedy stuff with Goten and Trunks. Here, they didn't do it. It's like it was just one plot device for them not to act in there. And I thought the reason for Goten and Trunks not even competing in this tournament was just not. I thought it was ridiculous that I'm like, they're stronger than all these other humans, so why would they put them in there? I mean, shoot. Strategy said they were too young and everything for the strategy wise, but I still thought their power had stuff to. I mean, they didn't pull that on Majin Buu. They knew that, okay, these guys, they're Super Saiyans and they can do the fusion, so that'll be our best bet at beating Buu. But whatever. The thing is, what the heck were they facing too? Did you notice in the still that they drew, Goten and Trunks are battle damage? Their clothes are ripped up, and I'm like, really?
They probably were practicing, to be honest.
Thank you for actually saying that. That will be the only thing that I could imagine, because the way it's presented, it's like as if they had a hard time with all these people, and that happened in the beginning of Super. Like, wasn't it some dinosaur or dragon or something to give them a hard time, or some sort of snake? Like, whatever. Majin Buu, who's been sleeping all this time, he basically, you see Mr. Satan. He's with Mr. Satan B, and Pan is basically annoying Piccolo with his head tentacles, which I thought was adorable, with Videl and Gohan watching. Videl's worried, of course. Muten Roshi, known as Master Roshi in the Funimation dub, visit Korn and Yajirobe, while Teen Shinha and Chaozu and the rest of Teen Shinha's students are rebuilding the roof of his dojo from the earlier parts of this arc when Son Goku was going around recruiting him. And all of a sudden, Majin Buu wakes up because it's feasting time. Man, I was so disappointed. I mentioned in episode 122 review that we did with what I did with Little Miss Undead. When Majin Buu, I found out was going to be a part of the Z Fighters team at the end of the Buu saga. When we finally get Dragon Ball to come back, I really wanted to see Majin Buu compete, and we didn't even get to see him fight at all much in this arc and everything, or just much at all in Super. And I'm like, man, I know he would have been quite the beneficial. Like he would have just probably in the tournament of power been able to turn everybody into chocolate and throw him out. So, but it would have been cool to see such a powerful opponent that was a huge villain for them to overcome. Now in their team work together. So we didn't get much Boo. What about you? Did you wish in Super we would have gotten more Fat Boo, given how a tough opponent he was to beat in Z, and now he's their partner in Super, but we didn't get to see him much?
Well, in terms of that, I mean, I wish I would have seen like the new and improved Boo, because I definitely think he got stronger.
Oh yeah, when he lost all the weight.
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely would have liked to have seen that Boo, good Super Boo.
Definitely. But you know what? I'm glad they brought back Frieza, and I do actually think they made up for because I thought they dropped the ball with Frieza in the Fakatsu no F movie, and I'm glad that I felt like in this arc we got the true Frieza that we really wanted, and the fact that he was fighting on the good guys team and still being so evil was like, it's cool. For me, I was like, I can root for Frieza this time, yay, because he's on the side of the good guys, even though he's probably got his own motives at the end. So we see what was it? They're enjoying the big feast is because of Brawl's birth. Now they have the time to celebrate, everything, because Whis rushed the pregnancy with Boma. And then you see Juhachigo, Boma, Kuririn, and 17 via video chat, as it seems from what we can assume, it appears that 17, or no, the Capsule Corporation logo was on it. So Boma pretty much gave 17 the cruise, and we still don't get to see 17's family, but he's chilling on the cruise, and like I said, that man deserved it because he saved the entire multiverse. So definitely we see he got his cruise. We see the family gathering with Boma. Even Boma's sister Pants is there, and what happens is Pan flies and smacks Vegeta right in the forehead and grabs his that
was hilarious.
And he grabs his lips, and it actually stays in place when he turns around. Goku finds it funny, and Vegeta challenges him, so they both go Super Saiyan Blue and start fighting. And you see Chi-Chi and Boma, they look annoyed, but the remaining of their family and friends are all smiling and everything. So really cool moment. We then go into outer space, where we see elsewhere, in the universe, Frieza has assembled either what's left or a brand new army, as he says, "Everyone sorry for the wait. The Emperor of the Universe has returned." So they stated that there's 28 planets left in Universe 7, which I know a lot of fans did not like and were like, come on now. So I don't know where he assembled this army from, and I thought the army were all what's left, because that was what was left of the army in Fakatsu no F, and he killed all those off. So I don't know what's going on here, and Frieza's very interesting moving forward, because I don't know where you're going to go. It looks like they're not going to turn him into an anti-hero, but he's probably just going to show up and fight with he'll fight with Goku. Obviously, Toriyama's already came out and said that this will have the next movie's going to have a lot to do with Goku, Vegeta, the Saiyans, and Frieza. So we know he will be playing a big role in the upcoming movie in December. It's very interesting here, because Frieza obviously knows he will stand no chance against Son Goku, especially after the Zenkai boost they've both received. He stands no chance against Goku's new Ultra Instinct form and Vegeta's Beyond Super Saiyan Blue form. And obviously he tries to go to other universes 11. He definitely ain't gonna do nothing with Jiren. And then obviously Beerus and Whis are always hanging around the Z Fighters now. They're part of the family. So Frieza's in a very interesting development, where how much of the universe he can probably torment the remaining few planets left in Universe 7, but he goes to Earth, he ain't gonna hang with Goku and Vegeta. And it's interesting just to know that Goku and Vegeta know that Frieza's out there trying to destroy whatever life is there, so just let him do his own thing. Like, yeah, it's weird. It's like, but I guess they wanted to bring Frieza back somehow. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't think they're gonna kill Frieza off, and nor should I think Frieza should be the villain again, because it's been like we've been there, done that. You've already had Frieza come back 3 times now, or be the villain 3 times. I guess what I'm most very interested in, I would like to see what's his name from Universe 6, Frost. Now that he's been exposed to the golden form, maybe Frost does some intense training and gets his own golden form, or maybe he gets like a silver form or something, and he comes back for revenge against Frieza. And the idea of a Frieza and Frost rivalry is what really intrigues me moving forward. I think though Frieza might have to go to another universe or something like that. Maybe he'll go to one of those newer universes if they got featured. So it's going to be very interesting, but I'm guessing Frieza's not going to get killed off for a while. They brought Frieza back because of his popularity, so it's going to be interesting in dynamics. What are your thoughts on this, and what do you see moving forward? Like, what are you intrigued by with Frieza moving forward into the series? Because apparently he is around to stay now.
You know what? I honestly don't have an opinion on it. Because it's too little to go off of. I'm not even 100% convinced Frieza is still the same Frieza.
And what do you mean by that?
I'm not. So, previous Frieza was ruthless. He was selfish. He cared about nothing but himself. You know, he cocky, arrogant. But I think Frieza's learned some lessons. I think Frieza's learned how to train. I think he's learned how to analyze weaknesses. And I think in doing that, something changed where Frieza's learned almost a bit more. I think in learning humility, it's changing Frieza's thought process. It's not changing him as a person. I think he still wants to, like, rule over the universes and stuff like that. But what I'm noticing with the character, and if you really pay attention to just how Frieza carries himself, Frieza's okay now with the idea of someone being on the same level, if not stronger than him.
It's kind of like Vegeta. He realizes that without Son Goku around, he probably wouldn't be pushed to his limits. And I think he realizes Goku, like I said, they won't like each other, but there's respect there because they've been through wars. And he realizes because of Son Goku, Frieza has been able to push to his limits. If it wasn't for his battles with Goku, Frieza wouldn't have gotten this far.
Yeah, and I think in doing that, it's teaching Frieza something, because you got to think, and you hit it right on the head. Goku and Frieza are letting Frieza run amok, but Frieza's doing the same thing. He can't possibly think that he would be able to run amok throughout the universe and not end up having to deal with Goku sooner or later. You know what I mean? He knows he can't touch Earth, but at the same time, what's stopping him from running on the new Namek and somebody getting a hold of Dende and then Goku going there? You see what I mean? Like, there's...
And he probably won't even try going to New Namek again because he knows that Goku obviously can travel there easily now, and especially when he knows where it is.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I think Frieza in the back of his mind knows he has to play his cards right. So I don't think the world domination or the universe domination part is as apparent with him as it seems. I think he still wants to make sure that the universe understands who he is, which is why he addressed that crowd the way he addressed that crowd when he says, "Sorry for keeping you waiting, everyone. The ruler of the universe is here."
But where did they come from? They said that was the last of the army in the Fakatsu no F movie, and they killed all of them.
But that's what I'm saying. I think what that was something new. So, like, I think, and it's funny you mentioned Frost.
That's true. Maybe he went to those remaining planets and gathered them up.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because you mentioned Frost, and I'm almost willing to bet that there's a dynamic shift where Frost becomes a lot more like Frieza in his universe, and Frieza becomes a lot more like Frost in Universe 7.
Well, you got two
Where-
empires going at it. That'd be cool.
Yeah, you see what I mean? I think Frieza now is going to probably start focusing a lot more on development, probably going to start focusing a lot more on expanding his control through not just power and rule through fear, but more so rule through his gift of gab. Rule through like, hey, I'm, a benevolent, air quotes, leader, join me and I'll be able to help you.
He
see
might
what
want
I
to
mean?
become a god of destruction too, to satisfy his hunger for always wanting to kill too. So that always a possibility. I always think like he might migrate to another universe. He might have to one of the lesser universes. It's definitely interesting where they're going, and I take it you yourself is actually you're intrigued by a rivalry between Frost and Frieza. I think Frost is going to learn from that experience and actually take himself to the next level. Kind of like how the Saiyans are learning Super Saiyan 2 and now they're looking to go to 3. I think Frost, he learned about the new max powered buff form, that 100% form, and now he's like, oh, but there's this golden form maybe now, so yeah.
Yeah, man.
And too,
Curious.
yeah, what's up?
No, I said I'm curious.
Oh, okay. Also another thing too, I feel like it's really a dangerous move. We've seen in just 4 months how strong Frieza can get. And then on top of that, we see that even when he's in hell, just through mental training, how strong he was able to match Goku after all the epic battles he had went through after the last time he had fought Frieza through Head and Zamasu. So letting Frieza on the loose and giving him a good enough time to train, like I don't think it might not be too far-fetched that he actually ends up being able to get to that level with Jiren. But I think moving forward though, I think Toriyama is probably going to keep Goku and Vegeta stronger than Frieza. And I think Frieza might be that new guy in the role like Vegeta, how he was always the guy taking the biggest butt whoopings in the movies. I think I could see Frieza after the way Topo messed up with him. So I think Frieza is not going to get stronger than Goku and Vegeta. They're still going to be the top tier moving forward.
I'd be salty if it just came down to that. But I mean, I could see it.
Oh no, I think Frieza's gonna have his good moments because they recognize his popularity, and I think that's the fun thing about it. Like, you can have these characters that might not have much of emotion with, that you have Frieza go, that fans, you can have Frieza. Like, that was enjoyable. We got to see Frieza do his just evil, crooked self in that tournament, just wanting to torture people, because these are a lot of characters that obviously, we weren't gonna have emotional connections to. We won't be able to see him do this with Goku and Vegeta, but you have all these people who, as wrestling, as they call it, jobbers. Poor
Yadrat.
What?
That poor Yadrat.
Oh, yes. Well, yeah, he made one of them commit suicide, right? So, wow, it was crazy when they just basically jumped off, and there goes that part of their team. But yeah, I mean, you have a bunch of jabronis now you can make up, and Frieza can torture them and give all of us, the Frieza fans, something to enjoy. So that being said, yeah, there's a lot of possibilities. So let's go to the very final part of this episode. And that would be, this one, yeah, was an animator. It had several animators, but the main one that I know of is Hiroyuki Itai. And of course, there were some corrections, I think, made by Koji Nashizawa. And basically, this is a nice callback once again to the very first fight of Goku and Vegeta in a familiar rocky mountain. And they're basically fighting. So Vegeta, basically, this is where we get very interesting dialogue. Vegeta says, "Hey, Kakaroto, what happened to your Ultra Instinct?" And Goku says, "I can't do it." "What?" "I guess I was pushed to the edge in the tournament and did it accidentally." "Oh, then I'll just attain an even greater power." And then Goku goes like, "Hold on, Vegeta." And then Vegeta says, "Shh! Shut up! You're the last person I'll ever let surpass me! And then, after the struggle, Goku and Vegeta, basically the fighting stance that they took in their very first fight. And what I liked about this one is before Vegeta was on a higher playing field and Goku was on the rock that was lower, showing the difference in power. Now they're literally on an even playing field. So I really like it, kind of letting the audience know that, hey, Goku and Vegeta are indeed equal in everything. And basically from here, Goku says, it ends with Goku and Vegeta basically saying to each other, Vegeta, we can get even stronger! Of course, a science strip has no limits! From there, that's when both warriors, after that, both warriors basically fly towards each other. The narrator says, the endless challenge to go beyond all limits continues. When a new, unknown, powerful enemy appears, Goku and his friends' adventures will begin again. Until then, a brief parting. See you all again. And Goku and Vegeta basically charge straight at each other, and it ends with a nice painted image of them face to face, and narrator says, see you all again. And that's how Dragon Ball Super ends for now, which does not come off like an ending, but more so see you later. And because when it comes to endings, a lot of people might not like this. Yes, I love Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z more, but I still think if we're going to go based on endings of this, Dragon Ball GT still has the best ending, because that ending made it feel like it was the end of an entire franchise for the moment, at least. And that's how we end. So Son Goku really didn't master Ultra Instinct, because if he mastered it, then he would probably be able to do it at will. I don't think this is the end we've seen of this form. No. I think we'll see it. I was wondering why Vegeta didn't actually power up. They just stayed in their Super Saiyan Blue forms. And that's what's going to lead us into the next movie for Dragon Ball. That's going to heavily evolve around the Saiyans.
Not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good knowing Vegeta's stronger than Goku.
He has technically at this point we might as well consider it, right?
Yeah, he has the edge. Like
Vegeta did not mention anything about his
Ultra Blue.
Yeah, his Ultra Beyond Super Saiyan Blue form, whatever. I forget the official term they have for it now.
Ultra Blue for short, but I forget what it's called in Japanese.
I think no, they went with the insanely long name. It went with Super Saiyan Blue Beyond Super Saiyan Blue. Oh, but
it's something crazy. That's why everybody's just calling it Ultra Blue, which sounds way better. Toriyama, listen to us for once.
Yeah, Ultra Blue. You see on the video games, they still call it Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan.
It's so stupid.
Actually, dude, I think I remember the name of it now. It was Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Evolution, and of course, the Funimation way of saying that would be Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Evolution. Yeah, long title indeed. But interesting enough, when it comes to this form, Vegeta never once mentioned that he couldn't do that form. So yeah, Vegeta stands stronger than Son Goku right now.
That's why he wanted to fight it. Like, that explains why he wanted to fight it. He probably wanted to test to see how strong that form was in comparison, and then see if he could push it.
Especially after their Zenkai boosts. Whew.
Yeah, he probably wanted to see how strong it was in comparison to Goku's Magate no Gokui, and then see, all right, can I push this past it? Can I add it? Can I do it? Because Vegeta's the same as Goku. He's going to see how far he could push something before he goes on to the next thing. And so for him to say that, and then for Goku to be like, no, well, Vegeta's not going to sit here and power up beyond him. You see what I mean? He's not going to do that. I think he's past that point as a person, where Vegeta's at now is, okay, I got this edge over him. That's cool. I want to get to that next level. You know what I'm saying? That what we saw in that tournament. I want to get to that.
Right. It's so. Did you like the callback though to the way they decided to shoot the final scene for or animate the final scene for Super right now?
Oh yeah, I loved it. I love the fact that they went back to the mountain where they first fought. I love the fact that they kept their. I love the fact that they kept their form. Of just how they were setting up the fight. dude, the ending scene is solid.
Oh yeah.
There's really nothing to discuss about it. It speaks for itself.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean? It's a callback to the very beginning of the DBZ series. It's just, it sets the tone for kind of what to expect. It wraps up a lot of stuff, as far as like, okay, we know 17's a heavy hitter. We know, 18 is still a heavy hitter. We, Gohan has the potential to become stronger, and I think he got the motivation to train in this episode so that he could potentially become a major playing piece. Obviously, Goku has shown that a Saiyan's potential is endless. He could
That's what
tap
it's
into the
about.
powers of that as
The
the
song
angel.
said it. Limit
Vegeta,
breaker.
yeah, Vegeta even, says, or taps into a power that is to that of a Saiyan, similar to that of a god of destruction. So, long story short, across the board, it sets the tone for that power increase. So we get that power gap for the next one where we know, okay, these guys have the ability to get stronger. We know that there are people with them, Frieza, 17, Gohan, who also have the ability to get stronger if pushed and put under certain conditions. Uh, even the Z fighters like Roshi and everything, it shows that they all can still play a pretty critical role. That power isn't just everything, but there's also the element of strategy. I think them bringing that into this episode and bringing that into this arc as a whole shows that DBZ, no matter how strong the enemy, will always require everyone to work together in Universe 7. That there's not one enemy that Goku can beat by himself, but more so he's at the forefront of it, but he's always going to utilize his friends to help defeat whatever the big bad is. And that's a
Definitely,
fact,
right. And I like to think that this was Toriyama's way, especially with the even playing field. Toriyama's way of, like I said, we all can hope that one day Vegeta gets his big moment. But I feel like this is Toriyama's way of letting the fans know that, hey, he does understand Vegeta is a well-beloved character in this franchise by the fans. And overall, I feel like, while a lot of it did run to the same territory of what we've seen with Vegeta, we can't say Vegeta was treated like a jabroni or a jobber in this. I mean, Vegeta got a lot of screen time, a lot of character development, or I should say revisiting points that were already developed about his character. But ending it with him and Goku on an even playing field, I thought was just really cool. And moving forward, we have the Dragon Ball Super movie, which I don't know if you've seen some of this, some of the new designs coming out. So taking over the animation is going to be Norihiro Shintani, and he's the one that was heavily in like the One Piece Z film, and he's the one taking the animation in the new direction of the more manga-esque type of character designs, which I know is going to be very friendly to the animators. I know at first, like I like the detailed shading when there's like four layers of different shading. That's the type that I prefer. But these new designs do look cool. They do look like the manga, and I know they're going to bring in great results for the animation. And that's where as we move forward, everything is set up for that movie, because this movie is going to heavily evolve around the Saiyan race, Saiyans, and this new villain that we've already seen Goku collide fists with. But I will say, moving forward, I'm assuming this guy is going to have to be stronger than Jiren and push Goku back to Migate no Goki form, which they haven't revealed. We've seen Super Saiyan Blue, but I'm thinking they're going to make people wait for that, because you're going to go to the theater and see that. And everything. And I think there's a lot of plot points interesting moving forward. I wonder if he's going to have this new villain job Jiren out, if we'll even see Jiren. So a lot of interesting points moving over. But before we wrap up this review, overall, we can do a more in-depth video or audio discussion later. But that being said, what are your thoughts on this entire arc? For me, I'll just say, I I think this arc dragged at points, and like I said, I was never really big fan of how they were talking about strategies. Because as I saw in the end, Jiren could have just went to his full power and wiped everybody out, and it would have been done from the start. So that's what I figured. And but overall, it was great to see some of the characters. It was great to see some of the characters. Interact that we got to see for nostalgic reasons. It's high points, like some of the best animation and music we've had in the franchise, and there were some points where it like just dragged, and they didn't. I wish they would have did more to make us get more emotionally connected to some of the characters, because like they didn't really put in some of the characters. Like we didn't even know like what the heck, like we didn't get a chance to get an emotional connection to them or anything like that. But when it was on its highs, it was pretty high. I will definitely say I think this is definitely one of the best arcs in the series. It ended up being better than I thought it would be, because after that Zamasu arc, I was like, oh man. So overall, yeah, I thought it dragged a bit too much on certain things. They could have really chopped some of these episodes down. But I will say all the high points with like the Ultra Instinct build up and the final fights with Jiren, like the Aniraza stuff and like the Goku. I did enjoy the Kel and Khalifa stuff, everything and stuff like that from the arc. So I thought that stuff was really good. I thought the way some of this stuff started out too was pretty cool. And I did think it was definitely a cool concept. But I think people definitely would like to see tournaments be no more of a thing now. Like, let's get to the classic Dragon Ball stuff of having a villain show up and take our heroes to the edge of their limits and stuff and beyond. So yeah. And if we do have another tournament, I would like to see a traditional tournament like we had in Dragon Ball, where it's actually characters, fighting one-on-one and they move up the ranks, as opposed to these like battle royal team tournaments they've been doing. So overall, I do consider this arc pretty good, and it definitely sets up for a lot of interesting possibilities moving forward. So overall, we'll say I did enjoy the arc. I just thought it dragged too long on certain bits, and I do think there were some failed opportunities of where they could have gone with certain characters. What about you, Linux? What's your thoughts just overall on this entire arc?
I mean, a lot of it were just problems that I kind of have grown to expect when it comes to certain things like tournament, and that's across the board in any anime. Like, there's got to be losers on both sides. You can't just have your hero side winning.
Which they did a lot of this. They really focused on Universe 7 in this whole entire arc, where we didn't even get like two other, or like maybe this character interacted with this character, like seeing other characters from other two universes that we didn't even know of, like they interact. We didn't get that. It was like really Universe 7.
I mean, we saw a lot from Universe 6 in this arc. And I mean, I guess you could kind of say we saw a decent amount from Universe, 11, with Belmont, Jiren, Topo, all that stuff. So like we saw pieces. Did we see as much as Universe 7? No, but we saw and got a lot of insight into other universes.
But you know about those universes you mentioned. 7's obviously the main cast. Universe 6, we had already been exposed to the tournament prior. And Universe 11, they had the big three characters that were going to be the most obstacles to overcome towards the end. So they got their development mode. But like we didn't even get to see like maybe that Yadrak take on one of those doctors or whatever that ended up getting eliminated. Like we didn't get to see stuff like that. Like just two characters we had no idea about. See those two characters interact and create their own story with it. Like, yeah.
I mean, there were moments. Like I think Master Roshi definitely got a lot of shine in this episode. I mean not episode, but in this arc,
he got
a lot more than Krillin and Piccolo.
Though.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like we got a lot. We got a lot for what we were gonna get. I wasn't expecting too much more from Roshi than what they gave me. They actually gave me a lot more than what I was expecting. Oh, yeah. Same thing with like 17. We got way more out of 17 than what I was expecting. So I've kind of learned.
Did it feel like Teen Shinha was just there though?
It did, but it felt like that for a couple characters. It wasn't just him.
I'm glad 18 and 17 got a lot of love. 17 got a lot of love, but it was cool that they kept 18 in as long as she did. That was awesome.
Yeah. So I think it's just one of those things where like it's the nature of the beast when it comes to a team like tournament. When it comes to just tournaments in general in anime, you're gonna have those losers. Not everybody's gonna get their fair time to shine, because if they did, that arc would just take way too long to do.
Right.
So it's one of those things you kind of gotta bite the bullet.
Let me
And just take
ask you
those
though.
losses.
Speaking of you saying that, did you think this arc dragged on too long? Now I'm pretty sure if we watched this like binge watched it in one day from sun up to sundown, it obviously would move faster. But watching this on a week to week basis, and sometimes them even taking 2 weeks, and like it felt like there were times all the hype was around. Like let's just see Goku go Ultra Instinct and fight Jiren and get to the main showdown. Sometimes did you feel there were parts of this arc that dragged?
I didn't, but once again, I think that's a very opinionated type of like statement. That solely depends on you, because there are people who just want to watch anime and they want to get to the action. Some people like the build up. Don't really have any beef with how they, played this out. Could they have probably sped it up? Maybe. I don't know if that would have done the anime more justice, or if it would have felt rushed, or if we would have been left with, no answers. So I think how they handled it was fine. It's one of those things where like you really can't gauge it. I don't think making the anime like shortening it up or taking certain stuff out would have been like good or bad. Because I'm trying to think of like what could you have taken out or what could you have limited or condensed that would help the story, and I don't really see it, to be honest.
I got you. Like
I don't really see what you could have taken out that could have helped that.
There are fans who care more about the action. Others like the build up, and I'm one of those people that definitely like the build up. So that's the thing about it is I think the reason why if there were parts that felt like they dragged probably because they didn't do enough to make us care about certain bits of the parts of the characters. Because a lot of this really was about Universe 7, and I think it was just being like a last hoorah for some of the characters because they might retire these characters. It might be they obviously hinted at it with Roshi, and this might be the last time we see Teen Shinha. Gohan might just go back to being, the scholar and everything. I think Goku and Vegeta will be around. Shoot, I don't even know if they're gonna have any plans moving with 17. I feel like that might have been the reason why they gave 17 such a big push. So it's gonna be interesting. And everything, but that's fine too. Though it's nice to know if there were parts that you felt didn't drag out. Like I said, I just wish some parts probably would have not felt like they've dragged out to me if they actually cared more. Like I'm actually one of the people that a lot of people didn't like the Ribrianne stuff, and a lot of people say they probably that probably dragged out and stuff. But I was pretty much okay with Ribrianne because she was a parody of like all the Magic Girl stuff that Toei Animation had done and everything. I'm like, she's not a bad character and stuff in terms like she preaches love and everything. I know Toyotaro's made her the opposite now in the manga. And all that stuff. So, but I was actually able to watch all of it. I know they've used a lot of reused animations and stuff and everything. So that was actually one of the things, surprisingly, I was okay with. I know a lot of people did not like Ribrianne. But yeah, definitely it comes down to subjective choice on that. So as we conclude here, we apparently this movie still will not be surpassing the end of Dragon Ball Z, which constantly as this keeps going on, it makes me more and more like, how strong is Oob by the end of DBZ? Because you have to imagine, after what we've seen with Ultra Instinct and Goku and all the battles he's been, base Goku by the end of DBZ has got to be on some outer worldly universal god tier destruction of power, like insane. And think about this, all these battles he's been through, and when we get to the ending of DBZ, he's still he still wants to fight Oob. Like, he's been waiting for Oob for 10 years at this point. Like, because in the original, obviously, because Toriyama didn't mention it, we all, assumed that Goku hadn't had a fight like Kid Buu, and after 10 years, he was finally happy to see Kid Buu resurrected. Well, now he's faced all these god characters, so it's like, was Oob naturally born with strength that's gotta be even beyond what we've seen with Jiren in this next coming video? Like, and also, I will say this, that I would, if they're gonna retire these characters, I would like to see Goku and Vegeta perhaps take a back seat. At least, hopefully, Vegeta gets his one big win and then take a back seat. Sort of like Roshi become like the masters, like mentors, and maybe make Oob, Brawl, Pan, Goten, and Trunks, as we saw them at the end of DBZ, maybe make them the new next generation, and they team up with Khalifa and Kel, and we have all these new characters, and maybe see that go into the new direction past Z, because I think that's what really everybody wants to see. That's what we've really been waiting for over 20 years. So before we conclude, I'll let you go ahead and give me your thoughts on that. How now that we've come this far in Super, how do you look back on Goku and Oob, the ending of DBZ, and what would you like, Linux, to see moving forward once we get past the movie? I mean, in terms of just finally getting past the end of DBZ.
With Goku and Oob, I'm gonna leave my comments on that till after the movie.
Okay.
Only because I need to see kind of how the power scaling works within the movie. Because then that'll give me an idea of where to place it. As far as what I'm expecting, I just
or
want them
would
to
like to
dive
see
more into. I just want more lore. I think one of the things that
we've got more lore now, don't we? We've got plenty to. They've even said that in interviews. They got plenty. Toriyama's created all these characters, and he's probably putting all this together. So there's plenty.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they've tapped into everything just yet. To be honest, I think they've probably barely scratched the surface. Like, I don't feel that they've told us everything, like how the universes work and everything. I still feel like I maybe only understand like a fraction of how the universes work in this, in the way this world works. And so now I'm very curious to see kind of like Zeno's thought process for when he destroys the universe. Why? What's he looking for? What do they have to do? Just to kind of see, like what's going on? What is this? How does this work? How does Whis', time or temporal do-overs work? How does that pertain to him being able to revive somebody? Is that a separate ability? All of these things I just really want to know.
Yeah, there's a lot in Super that has not been explained yet, but like I said, it looks like they're gonna bring it back. So I imagine too, because Son Goku is gonna be representing the Olympics down there. That's actually legit in Japan. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna bring him back before 2020 to get things hyped up for that. I will just ask this one thing about Oob. Has the thought though ever crossed your mind how strong Oob must be as you go through and watch Super?
No.
Okay.
Because Oob in and of itself has always been untapped potential. So asking how strong he is at that point isn't really something that I think about, because even at the end of the series, you're asking yourself, like, how strong is Oob? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're asking yourself how strong he is, when he leaves to go train with Goku. So, like, I'm not really thinking about it.
Gotcha. Yeah, a lot of people are just wondering about it because there's like, why would he care to face Oob after what he's been through with Jiren? It makes me definitely wonder. But there's a lot to wonder about in the entire lore of Dragon Ball Super. They've got the Dragon Ball room, and then I don't know if you've heard, they're getting together a whole entire separate department in toy animation exclusive to creating Dragon Ball content. So I feel like if Super does come back in terms of a weekly television series, this will be so much more put together. I would like to see moving forward with Super though, so we get more consistent writing. I just hope there's somebody that comes along, can be that editor, like they'll take, like, even if Toriyama just writes down the little the little the what does he do? He does the little notes for the manuscripts. I think it was, or monologues, or yeah, the manuscripts or something that he writes down. I feel like have someone who can take that, and someone who's a really hardcore Dragon Ball fan. I'm still amazed. I gotta actually do more research on this. So anybody knows in the comment section, please comment. I've always been fascinated. I always wonder all these plot holes that we do get, even just straight from the manga. Has there ever been any editors that ever tell Toriyama like, let's think about this, like, oh, this would contradict that from early on in the series, or maybe they for the people that forget themselves. But yeah, like a really hardcore Dragon Ball fan that really like knows their stuff and everything. So like they write like, oh well, we need to alter that because that would be a plot hole or something, and maybe like look at certain logic issues and like just help refine and structure and like make it like one person, so that you don't have so many cooks in the kitchen because you've got multiple writers. That's why Dragon Ball Super seemed inconsistent at times, because you got one writer did this on this episode, and then the next writer comes and does that episode, then the next writer does this episode. It's like, let's get one writer and let's get an editor a continuity editor who's a really hardcore Dragon Ball fan and remembers like all this stuff and everything. And I think it should do good. I know and I know he listens to this to these reviews. My cousin, he was a big hardcore Dragon Ball fan. You know, I know he doesn't like Toriyama. He wished Toriyama would have put more effort outside of just doing the mono scripts and everything. But as we all know, Toriyama's not not as motivated as he used to be. So the fact that we got in this, and this is what I mentioned in me and Matt Dillingham's art video, the fact that we got this much out of Toriyama is really a blessing, honestly. And especially you've heard with the movie, he apparently wrote this movie out a year in advance. So that's huge, because Toriyama's a discovery writer and he mostly just writes up things, you know, whether it be just off the top of his head and just goes about it. So that's really cool to hear that much thought, especially, you know, for Toriyama, is going into this movie, and they've planned out the animation. Like there's so much planning that's gone in a year in advance into this movie. So hopefully the plot really looks great, as great as the animation is looking. So definitely a lot to look forward to in the future. Dragon Ball, the Xenoverse games, obviously they've got so many games coming out. Fighter still has content, and I'm pretty sure you know, as a competitor on the gaming scene, Linux, that Fighters is doing huge business for the gaming community. So Dragon Ball is definitely not going anywhere anytime soon. And
yes, sir.
Yeah, definitely. And we've got lots to look forward to. They got so many, with all these new characters, you could do tons of spin-offs. Suisha's definitely got the Dragon Ball room there, and you know, to have works that can be created. They've got the Dragon Ball Heroes game, which is popular, the card dash games that are popular in Japan, that has its own anime coming out just for promotional material. So that's gonna have tons of fan service, kicking off with Super Saiyan 4 Xeno Son Goku versus Super Saiyan Blue Son Goku. So yeah, definitely a lot to look forward to in the world of Dragon Ball. With that said in mind, you had any final comments you wanted to make regarding moving forward with Super, especially with all the planning going into the movie, Linux?
No, just definitely go support that movie, guys. I'm looking forward to it just as much as we all, as we all are.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think this is I honestly think we're all gonna get thrown for a loop in this movie. Like, I don't think there's going to be anything cliche. I truly believe, like, I'm going to walk into the theater and walk out like, what just happened?
I hope so too, man. Yeah, hopefully this does huge. It's got to do huge business too, especially moving forward for the Dragon Ball franchise. Plus, there's talks that this might get a international release in theaters. So definitely, I know we definitely went out to support Resurrection F when it was released in theaters out here in America, and shoot, it did huge business. And I went to the Battle of Gods one as well when it got released for a limited showing. So hopefully they're able to get it. It's gonna be very interesting for the Funimation dub though, if they end up having to create all these character voices when the dub itself is still probably a little over over a year away from catching up. So that will be very interesting to see how they do that. But I'm all for an international release. I would love it for Dragon Ball as it gets that big and everything. That being said, guys, we definitely will be back with more Dragon Ball discussions because there's so much lore to this. So definitely there'll be plenty we can talk about later on. That being said, Linux, before we head out, any plugs? You have the floor.
Not much, guys. Definitely go check out my channel, YouTube, at TheLinuxVirus. Follow me on Twitter. Love talking Dragon Ball talk with all of you guys. At TheLinuxVirus on Twitter. And yeah, just be cool, guys.
And I will conclude here with my plugs. So if you obviously are a fan of Dragon Ball, shonen manga, or anime adapted from shonen manga, make sure to check out my upcoming short film, Battle of Deception, as it's based on those types of genres. I currently have lots of videos such as the teaser trailer and the behind-the-scene interview videos right here on my channel, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified as soon as I release more content regarding Battle of Deception, Dragon Ball, and even WWE if you are a professional wrestling fan. And make sure to like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and Instagram, both at SONGOSHUAKU'S. All links will be in the description below. Take care!